Alright, let's try and do this in one take. Hello, welcome to part 3 of this series, which is... what do I name it? Tamar, Headless, Multiscale, Riviera, Hardtail, Bridge thing. Part 3. So, it's all the intricate details that once the neck and body come off the CNC, what goes into actually getting it ready for paint and final assembly. So stick around to see that. Check it out. What you've just seen me do was grain fill the neck, and it might be difficult to see, but basically Wenge has this weird thing about being quite open, and it has like these, they look like not cracks but just open pores, and then so I use an Osmo water-based filler in black, so I've just gone through, filled that, and I've gone up to 320. Don't need to go any further than that, otherwise the paint hasn't got anything to latch onto, and this is going to be nitro satin clear. So I've then taken my sanding up to 5000. So what this does is it burnishes that top of the wood. Ooh, a bit slippery, and I don't know if it will capture it on, yeah, you can see the shine, you can see there's like a reflection here, and this means that when the frets go in, what I'll do, I'll use a bit of super glue just to reinforce that join. It just means that the fretboard, it's not going to lift and do anything weird, and it's nice and smooth and ready for frets. So what I now need to do is get the fret wire, which he's chosen 57-110, which is the larger of the fret sizes, and stainless steel, of course, by Jescar. So I just need to, it always comes wrapped or rolled in 10-inch, rolled as a 10-inch thing, and it will be a bit of spring back. Yeah, so just going to mark this against the actual fretboard and then cut it. And I use this like little gap, and I can just like bend it over. Actually, that's pretty good. Don't actually need to use the fret bender, so I'll get that. Get these cut, all 24 of them, and then I'll nip the tangs, and yeah. cut these all to rough size so then I could nip the tang off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my fret dress file. I've got like a little groove. Whoop. I've got like a little groove in my wooden vise, so I'm just going to take any, come on, focus, residual of that tang to the bottom of that crown, and then where the tang nipper goes, you can see it kind of shears that side, so I'm just going to roll that and take off any sharp edges from the bottom, just like on this edge here. On a side note, I'm really disappointed with StewMac. So I've now got two premium tang nippers, or whatever they fucking call them, and you can see I've marked SS stainless steel, and then somewhere and then yeah, SS, and that means that these are my original ones and old, so I'm going to use them for nickel, and then these are my brand new ones. You can see brand new. I've used these twice and they're fucked already. The jaw is already gone, the shearing jaw. You can see that little bright bit in that corner. Yep, it's dulled it already. Rubbish. Those are shit. I had to finish up with my old ones, which for some reason these are holding better. Those have basically had it. I've used them twice. I've just been using my fret bevel file thing, so 25 degrees, so it's quite steep, but it's quite a modern feel, and I roll or dress the fret ends quite a lot. Not hemispherical or anything like that, but I give it a nice good roll over on that edge, and then I also roll that fretboard edge quite a bit, because you want it to feel not worn in or anything, but you want it to feel played and at home. And what I'm looking for, I don't think it picks up in the camera too well, is when I'm sort of like looking down this end, what I'm doing is beveling and bringing in those frets, and I just want to see, I think you can see it just on the edge of my nail, like that light chamfer on that edge of the fretboard. That's what I'm wanting all the way down, is that I'm just kissing a consistent line down there. So then it means that, one, all the frets are, you know, not doing that, but also just starts to give a nice roll to where those fret ends are. So then when I go in between the frets, it's just a nice sort of touch. Little details like that. I'm a big believer that if the neck is the most important part of the instrument, it's the one that is the most tangible in terms of, like, you know, what you're touching all the time. If it feels rubbish and, you know, the quality of the frets, or, you know, it's not dressed or leveled very well, then that's going to be a problem, and it's not confident inspiring, and so that translates into your playing. And I feel like if you grab a guitar and then you're like, oh yeah, that feels really nice, and, you know, oh, look at the quality, look how it, you know, it feels amazing, you're going to play inspired. So I believe the difference between, like, I think it's coming out quite a lot lately, where you see big factories, big brands, big names, and someone went around with like a little post-it note, and he was putting the you know, the edge of that paper not only on the inside the or underneath the fret ends, but actually in the middle. It's not been pressed down very well. It takes hours and hours to really dial in a neck to be right, and it's one of those where, you know, they'll sand it to 240 and then probably be done with it. That's not what I do. I go, you know, not the extra mile or anything, but I do go to what most independent luthiers would agree to be the sort of the better solution. And it's not about spending longer on an instrument to make it better. It's about doing the right processes, not wasting time. But if it takes a bit longer to do something better, then that's the way to go. In the background, you can see like I have a few notched rules, and because I'm doing, this is 26.5 to 25.5, obviously StewMac do a long scale, which is 25.5, and then they do a short scale, which is Gibson scale length, 24 3/4 or something. Modern Gibson or whatever they call it. So I actually had to come up with my own, which is 26, and that sits right in the middle, he says. What I now need to do is, I just need to put a little bit of back bow on that. We're probably talking very minimal. So it's got a slight rise in the middle, so I'm just going to back bow that. And then once I know the neck is dead flat, or the fretboard is dead flat, then I will then use a leveling beam to go across the frets, but not before I mask off the fretboard. Use a Sharpie on the tips of those crowns, then I'll level, and then I'll re-Sharpie the crowns again, and then you use some of my crowning tools, and then lots of dressing. Frets are now all leveled and re-crowned. So now basically all I've got is a very polished crown to a sharp fret end. So what I'm going to use is probably the cheapest fret file that StewMac do, and it is the fret dressing file. It's very simple. It's just a very fine grit, and one side is flat and then one side is rounded, and the round side is what we want to use. Now what I tend to do is, when I've gone across the fret bevel file, I don't know if you can see, come on, focus, you can kind of see horizontal lines from where that file is pressed over, and with this it's a lot smoother and much more polished, and we will go over with wet and dry and polish and all the rest of it, but the thing that takes out most of it is actually still using, oh, come on, fucking focus, is still using this. So what I tend to do, if I can get the camera to go where I want it to go, sit it against the edge of that wood where the fret and the wood are going to meet, and I'll just roll up ever so slightly. And I'm a big believer of using the thing like your other finger, because if you do that it kind of blind, but as I'm resting it on my other hand, it just feels a little bit more controlled. Don't know what it is. Might be psychological, might be bullshit, who knows. And I'm just gonna basically roll that a little bit until that becomes nice and smooth on that surface. Then I'll go up and down the fretboard doing each of the actual bevels, and then I'll use the rounded side of that fret, and again I still use my finger for some reason. I'm just going to roll that round, and obviously the angle at which you attack that fret edge with is going to obviously dictate the bevel angle, so you kind of want to hit it at all sort of sides. You kind of want to go 45 and then a bit shallow ends. So you don't want a chamfer edge on that crown. You kind of want it rolled, and you want to take it off as much as you can with this. So I tend to sort of roll the dress file as I kind of go. You don't want to just hit it like that. It's just not going to work. So you want to, as you press around, just kind of go over that crown. So you want to touch the top. And then what you can do is use the flat side and sit it as tight as you can to the masking tape that protects the fretboard, because obviously if you slip and damage the fretboard, it's just a pain to try and take out. So just gonna roll it as best I can. So now there's no sheared edge, it's nice and rolled, and if we do that, Phil McKnight, I'm sure, would be very, very pleasantly happy with that. I'm going to leave it there with the paint sort of featuring more in part 4, only because this is a nitrocellulose process, so there's going to be a little bit of waiting, and for editing wise I want to keep the final part a little bit more chunkier, so I'm going to cut it there. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and StewMac, send me something that actually isn't shit. But without further ado, thank you and bye.